we focus all of our energy on you finding the path to your best life for you to be your best self and to fully unleash and unlock your highest capabilities. And to do that, what I do is I bring together the top minds, the top hearts, people who are the real deal. And some of our guests are, high level academics, billionaires, famous people, stars, and so on. And sometimes I'm blessed with finding people who I would call the real deal. They've been in it. They didn't necessarily choose to learn what they've learned. They didn't necessarily choose to say, "Hey, I want to be a speaker and famous and all." They just merely were put through a journey that unleashed and unlocked a survival mechanism that turned into a system that has touched other people's lives. And that's who we're meeting with today. This is Catherine, and I'm going to try again the name. Manzewitsch.
Did great.
Did I?
Yes.
Okay, you say it.
Manzewitsch.
Manzewitsch. Oh, I like it when you say it better. You are about to be blessed. My friend Catherine is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Her primary focus is helping women who are over 50 to re-envision their journey, to pivot, to find their best possible life from where they are to where they want to be. And as you can imagine, these principles are for just about everyone. If you right now are watching this and you say, "Oh, I'm disqualified. I'm not a woman. I'm not over 50." Well, hang in there, Tiger, because all of us go through it. We have those days, these seasons, these journeys, the unexpected, a loss of a loved one, a loss of a career. It could be your own physical health journey. It could be physical health journeys of loved ones, economic, turmoil. And if it's not today, it's probably soon or not long past. And so this is content that I want everyone to dial into and to really capture what you can, because this may be for you and it may be for a loved one, but capture the content with this beautiful, beautiful soul. So Catherine, thank you so much for joining us. So tell everyone where you're joining us from.
Well, hello, everybody. I am joining you from Alamo, Texas, which is about 5 miles from the Mexican border in the deep part of Texas.
Wow, the Alamo, you're there. You're in deep,
Yay!
deep Texas. I have not been in that area, but I love, 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 love Texas. And I also love Mexico. And you're in Texas, close to Mexico, and you're a beautiful, blessed soul. So tell us how you came to be in the journey of helping people to pivot and find a way back to fully functioning and move towards their best possible life. What was your journey?
Absolutely. Well, I've been a pastor for over 40 years, and so I have been helping people in many other journeys throughout their life.
Hmm.
But recently, about 3 years ago, I had a really bad car accident. A woman who was doing 50 miles an hour because she was texting and driving
Hmm.
hit me really badly. And in 1 second, my entire life changed. I had broken everything. I had 4 herniated discs. I had broken rotator cuffs. And it started a journey where for 3 years I had to have surgeries, I had to have therapy, I had to learn to walk again, I had to learn to sit again, I could not turn my neck, and the whole right side of my body was completely numb for 7 months. I couldn't write, I could do nothing. So imagine, my career was I'm a hospital medical administrator and a MA and running things. That stopped my career absolutely cold turkey because I could not do my job and it stopped everything. And I don't know if you've ever been in a season in your life where something just collided in your life and just brought you to a dead stop.
Yes.
And many times we don't like the journey or we don't like what happens,
Hmm.
but many times we can look back on that and we can say, I can see that there's a new purpose coming out of it. And I
Yes.
think it's a choice, honestly, how we take the hardships in life. Everybody has hardships. It doesn't matter what area, what arena, we're all going to have them because we're human and because we live in this life that is
Hmm.
broken and messed up. So it's going to happen. It is just a guaranteed thing, it's going to happen. The secret, honestly, is to know how to manage it. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to take it? And for me, it was a journey of learning something new, learning something different. But when you've had a really bad accident and you are You go from working 18-hour shifts to not being able to move off a chair. You go into a season of silence. You go into a season of quiet. You go into a season of rest. You go into a season where you go full tilt to nothing. And it's very difficult for somebody like me who's, likes to
Yes,
move around.
clearly, yeah.
But in that journey, I went to the physical therapy center every single day. And I found myself with a different mentality than everybody else in there who was just as broken as me, but my mentality was different. I was determined to get better. I was determined to not allow that accident to define me. I was not going to allow the pain to define me or stop
Hmm.
me. And it wasn't mind over matter, but it was. In other words, I had to continuously, I knew I was going to be in pain at the center. I knew it was going
Yes.
to be hard, but I did it anyway. And that really is one of the secrets. When life gets hard, even if you don't feel like it, do it anyway. Do what you
Yes.
have to do for yourself. Do it for your family. Do it for your children. Whatever it is that
Yes.
motivates you, just do it, because as you begin the process of the activity and the obedience of just doing what you have to do, the results will come.
Yes.
And my one of my pivot moments was when the receptionist of the therapy center called me and she said, "Catherine, we have a problem." She said all of the patients are calling to reschedule to the times that they're there because you just keep going around and talking to them all and encouraging them and
Mm.
supporting them and cheering them on when they were crying in pain, just like you. And you would say, "Don't give up. It's worth the journey." And I would just, honestly, I did it naturally. I didn't do it for recognition. I didn't even realize that the ladies were noticing. I really didn't. I just did it
Mhm.
because that's who I am. And so she's like, "Now everybody wants your slot and we can't even fit everybody in, but everybody wants to come in. Would you just come in, when you can and just
Yes.
talk to them and motivate them and teach us how to get these people?" She said, "Because yes, it's the physical we do, but it's the mental that you've been able to tap
Yes.
into." And
So,
so
oh,
that
go ahead.
began my journey.
Hmm. Well, I wanted to pounce on a few things that you've shared because number one, not only did you have your own faith journey before the accident, you also worked in hospitals before the accident. You're a senior person within the world of hospital and wellness and healing. And I just wanted to point out for everyone here, it is possible that there's been some divine preparation for your challenge. You might say, well, what does that mean? Well, here's a perfect example. Catherine had, first of all, a faith based not only journey for herself, but as a leader within a faith community. And she
Yeah.
knew her wisdom literature, the Bible, her scripture. She knew some things that would serve her well in that moment. She also knows the world of hospitals and illnesses and emergencies and injuries. And so she was given some prep. And you might say, well, that's not fair. I had an accident and I didn't work in a hospital and I was never a preacher. Well, I understand everyone's journey is unique, but I do want you to think about your prep. And I'm just going to share with Catherine a story, my own story, and get her take on it. So I don't talk about it that much because I don't want people to think I'm trying to get pity. But I was when I was 45. I'm 60. I know I look 30. Thank you. Um,
You do.
when I was God bless you. When I was I paid her for that. When I was 45, I met a beautiful lady and fell madly in love. She had me before hello. I told her when we later fell in love. I told her because she came up a set of stairs into a restaurant that I was meeting with her friends and my friends were meeting for the first time. She walked up the stairs and I said, "Mi vida." She's from Peru. "Mi vida," my life. I said, I said, by the time you came up and I saw your chin, you owned me. And she was very cheeky and had a great sense of humor, and she had a beautiful accent. She says, "July." I said, "I'm not lying." And she said, "That's not your favorite part." I said, "Mi vida, I love all of you." She says, "Yes, but you have favorites." So she was fun and lovely and beautiful. She was, I would say, generally too young for me. I didn't plan on meeting someone younger. She was 28 and I was 45, and I thought that was a non-starter. But she's like, "Look, age is doesn't have to be the thing one way or the other. She says, look, love is love. And so we fell madly in love, and we got married 1 year after we started. 1 year and 2 months after we met, we were married. And then 1 year and 2 weeks after we were married, she died instantly of a severe brain aneurysm at the age of 30. And that ended me. But the reason I bring up that story, that's 13 years old now, that story of when she passed, the reason I bring it up is God prepared me. I'm going to give you a few things. Number one, we were walking once in Peru, we went on a vacation there, and we met in Toronto, and we went on a vacation to Peru once. And we were walking, and we were going through this very spiritual place and talking about spiritual things. And she says, I had a vision once. I said, well, do tell. She said, well, I saw myself die. And I thought, that's an interesting conversation. And she was very tentative to open up and be vulnerable and stuff. So I'm the open one. She was the non-open one. And we were having fun with that. But she just went into almost a trance as she felt compelled to reveal this story. She says, I had a vision of my death. She says, I was lying there. We were only dating at the time. And she was like, don't get too serious too fast, Gringo. You're trying to move too fast here. But she said, in my vision, my tall, white Gringo husband was there, and we were very much in love. Now, for her to give me that was a very big surprise. And then she said, in the vision, I was very young, like 30. And she died when she was 30. So she told me this when she was 28, just a couple months after we began to date. And it was a preordained moment because I said to her, I said, let me be clear. If we knew that was true, because she tried to calm me down, she says, oh, it was just a vision, it doesn't mean anything. I said, I get that, don't worry about it. I said, but let me be clear. If it is true, if we knew it was true, I would still invest every moment of my life with you between now and then. And that was on record for when she passed. And God could remind me, you signed up for this. And then on top of that, another thing that happened, just a week before she passed, I was frustrated in business over something. And she read a book called Disappointment with God, a Bible-based book. And she said to me, she read it all. And I said, so teach me. She said, well, I was surprised. The book wasn't about disappointment like business. It was how to survive the loss of a loved one, the loss of your spouse. 2 days before she died, she taught me everything she learned in that book of how to survive the loss of a spouse. And I just think there is such clarity to me that oftentimes, and maybe all the times, we have our own preparation for the challenges that are going to come to us. That's one part. And then the other part I wanted to isolate is it wasn't for no reason. God took that and made me able to touch people's lives. God took that experience with you and helped you touch others' lives. So I just want you to talk about the before and the after of trauma, tragedy, disappointment, challenges on all levels. Just the timeline of before and after, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, we all choose a career and go for it. So
Yes.
my before was I was pastoring with my husband here in Alamo, and we did that full time. But I also worked outside of the ministry to support ourselves,
Yeah.
and because I like to work, I like a career. And I went to school later in life to study medical billing and coding. I really like coding a lot, and so I know, geek. So I did medical coding for a good while, and then I pursued a little bit more. But it was different. It was really different. The ministry is different than the medical world. So I was already used to different. So I was okay navigating those two worlds. And then after the surgery, the hardest part was the stillness, was the quietness. I'm a very active person, and being sitting for 24 hours a day was very difficult. But many times God has to stop us from all of our activity to get our attention. And when those things started happening, as I was mentioning, people were kind of flocking to me because they needed that hope. They needed that reassurance. They needed that confidence. They needed the mindset shifts. They needed all of that. And I was doing it. I kind of had a bit of an epiphany. It was like God was saying, you know what? I got something for you here. And
Mm,
the more I talked to people, I thought, this is my new calling. This is
yes.
what I'm called to do. And so the after became a quest for, okay, how am I going to do that? And you know what? I learned that people are scared of pivots. People are scared of change. But
Yes.
different isn't wrong. It's just
Yeah.
different. Don't be afraid of the change. Don't be afraid of the pivot. It can be something exciting and new. Okay, I
Yep.
was in a lot of pain, but because I had a sense of purpose now, it wasn't such a big deal. I was going to do something with it.
Hmm.
And because I was still in pain and I still had to go to the surgical offices and so forth, I still had an audience. And so, it got me good at doing it because from a pastoral level, you do it one way and it's
Hmm.
different when you're working in the secular world. And sometimes it's people that are not of faith. And you know what? I'm okay with that.
Of course.
Jesus said, going to Judea, Samaria, and onto the ends of the earth, preaching the good news. That doesn't mean that everybody was already saved. No, I'm
Hmm.
okay with talking to people who are not faith based. You know what? We all need hope. We all
Yeah.
need purpose. We all have pivots. I'm perfectly fine to talk pretty much with anybody. And the secret really is getting them to come to a place of hope and of purpose.
Yes.
Because without purpose, you really don't have anything. You have no reason to live.
Hmm.
So when you have purpose, it gives you a new lease on life. You have a
Yes.
reason to get up in the morning. You have a reason to brush your teeth and get out there and get it done.
Hmm.
And people, I find they love a Cinderella story. They love, rags to riches.
Yeah.
They love, trauma to triumph. They love, and
Yes.
because it inspires them and
Oh,
it motivates them and it makes them feel like if you could, they can.
yes. Amen. And I love the transition you've made from the prep to the purpose. So there's the preparation that perhaps you've been blessed with an opportunity to prepare for whatever your experience is as you're watching this. Likely, if you can be still enough, you can find the seeds of preparation. That said, you can now begin to get excited about the seeds of purpose. One could be stillness. I studied psychoneuroimmunology, just because it's a big word. And it's the study of how stress affects our immune
Yes,
system. And so
completely.
everyone's surrounded by germs, not everyone gets sick. It's those who need rest. And the body says, oh, do you see that germ over there? I can use that as an excuse to get you still. It's when we're in our present, not past tense, tension about the past, not in future tense, tension about the future, and not in present tense, tension about what is, but rather a present peace. And whatever it takes to get us to that present peace, that is the intersection with the miraculous. That is the meeting place with divine, with God, if you're comfortable with the word. That is where we meet, and that is where infinite wealth, wisdom, and power, the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self control, restoration, reconciliation, healing, this is where all of that occurs in present peace. And sometimes we're brought to that kicking and screaming through drama and trauma. In any event, that is a supernatural place to find yourself in stillness. And I'm really glad that you highlighted that. And then you talked about it unleashed a whole new ministry, a whole new opportunity of being of assistance and support, things that perhaps you couldn't be qualified for any other way. So, for an example, as a widower, I am now qualified to talk to widowers. Whereas
Absolutely.
before, who am I? What
Absolutely.
do I know? And so
Absolutely.
only by going through it are we now prepared and qualified, right? Our
Absolutely.
qualifications are our scars, not our stars.
Yeah.
It's what it's what helps us to really say I get it, and people to get that we get it, and they can get
Absolutely.
us and we can get them. You have to have been there to be able to meet people there. Les Brown, possibly the world's greatest motivational speaker, I believe so, and he's my guru dad, and he calls me guru son. We've co-authored a couple of books and shared many stages. Um, he says, James, we know a few things because we've seen a few things.
Seen a few
And he also
things.
says, you can't teach what you don't know, you can't lead where you don't go. And
So
so, for those of you who might be going through it, if you can be open to the idea that this is your university degree, this is your preparatory experience to make you a world changer, and you'd be hard pressed to find anyone who had a profound and positive impact on the planet who didn't have a desert experience, who didn't go through it first. So, if you're open to it, this may be unlocking riches of various forms that you couldn't imagine. Would you agree with that? I mean, with the other people that you've worked with, is this consistent?
absolutely, absolutely. It's how can I put this? It's an absolute must. You can't
Mm,
talk about what you don't know. And if
yes.
you've never been forged into that place of silence, you won't understand it either. But one thing is that society is such that they almost don't want you to be silent. There is voices all around you constantly, from
Hmm.
the telephone to the TV to the internet. There's always noise. And one of the hardest things is to turn it all off and just be quiet. People are scared of the
Yes.
quiet. They're scared of what they're going to hear. They're scared of what their thoughts might be. But you don't have to, the Bible says that in quietness and confidence will be your strength. So there's something powerful to be said for the quiet, because
Hmm.
then you can do some deep searching. You can do
Yes.
some deep digging. You can really think. And that's when you really get to the core of who you are. What are my hopes? What are
Yes.
my dreams? What are my ambitions? What dreams got lost by the wayside because life interrupted? And that's really what my program is about, life interrupted.
Mm.
When life interrupts you and you have to pivot and you have to change. So
I love it.
that's
So
pretty much
one
it.
of the things that in our previous conversation we spoke about is someone's pivot readiness, right? The pivot readiness. And I think we may have already stumbled on a few of the steps. Is one of the steps something like accept what is? If you're trying to deny your current reality, that may not be a good starting point. That rather than exaggerating it, and if I bump my hand or my hand on my head, to say I fractured my skull, that's an exaggeration, and to say nothing happened, that's minimizing. But to be able to face the reality, that must be one of the steps, and there must be a step around finding your peaceful presence. So, can we talk about what readiness looks like so that people can begin? And we're going to share now how you can get from where you are to fully unleashing your living on purpose experience with absolute abundance. So let's talk about readiness. What does readiness look like?
Many times, readiness looks like letting go.
I love it.
Let go. One of the things that is it okay if I share another story? I
I
share
love
another story.
stories.
One of the things that God showed me, and I'll tell you another story, was when I had that accident,
Hmm.
in the car accident. And in one of those quiet moments we've been talking about, the Lord said to me, Catherine, forgive her.
Oh.
And I said, no, Lord. A second time, he said, Catherine, forgive her. And I said, why should I forgive her? I didn't do anything wrong.
Hmm.
And the third time he came to me and he said, Catherine, forgive her. Not because she deserves it, but because you do. You
Mm.
deserve to live with freedom. You don't deserve to live with anger and
Mm.
bitterness towards her. And the minute that I did that, something released inside of me and I truly let go. And
Nice.
it was in that letting go that purpose began to flow. Because many times, until we're not ready to let go of what happened and we're not ready to forgive, we cannot move forward. But please understand that forgiveness is not saying that they were right, it's not
Hmm.
excusing their
Right.
behavior. It's a strategy. It's
Yes.
a strategy, I tell you, because it will set you free. It's
Amen.
not excusing whatever happened. It's
No.
saying, okay, I accept that it happened. I embrace what happened, but I'm not going to stay there.
Yes.
And regardless of who hurt you and regardless of what happened to you, first of all, I'm really sorry for what you're going through because it's
Hmm.
really hard. But second of all, know that your life is worth it. You are worth it.
Yes.
And you are worth fighting for. So when you the one of the readiness things is to just really forgive those who hurt you and come to a place where your hopes, your dreams, and your ambitions outweigh the pain of the past. So when you come to that place of letting go and forgiving, it's a freeing and liberating spot where now your brain can begin to think with clarity. Your brain is not entangled with all the fear and all the doubts and all the insecurities and all the imposter syndromes and all of what somebody said about you and how they betrayed you and how they crashed you. I had to really, do you know that I would think about this woman all the time? I was like obsessed in my brain. And I was like, saying all these things in my brain, not to her, obviously, of what I wanted to happen to her, whatever, because we become angry, we become frustrated, life loses control, and then we don't know what to do. But I want to encourage you, let it go, truly let it go, because the minute you do, you will find the next steps. And that is one of the biggest steps to being ready for your next freedom.
Uh-huh. I
There
think
we
I
go.
pressed the right button now. I touched the mic and it has some kind of an off switch, and I haven't quite figured that out. I apologize, everyone. It's a really great mic though, and I'm a really great guy, but sometimes that happens. Thank you for
See,
your
that's
grace and
Life's Pivot Live. That is Life's Pivot Live.
yeah, and look at what grace and forgiveness looks like. Catherine didn't hold it against me. She forgave me instantly, and hopefully you will too. All right, so let's talk forgiveness because of all the things that I've done and taught and worked on, the workshops and programs, the number one thing that I've had positive feedback on and gratitude for is the encouragement to forgive. It is shocking that that is the most powerful thing. I think, I've worked really hard on you know, an ocean of amazing content, but the number one thing is something I deserve no credit for. It's timeless. Um, that you will be forgiven as you forgive others. It's timeless. It is one of the greatest principles is to move forward with a clean slate, to have no beef with nobody. I thought it was funny. I posted this on Facebook. I said, I think I am a spiritual vegan because I got no beef with anybody. I thought that was funny.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good
but
one.
I do think it's absolutely essential, and I've used recently in another interview this illustration. I'm not sure. Have you heard of the story of the how to catch monkeys with
No,
coconuts? Have you heard of
I don't
that?
think
Okay,
so.
you'll love this for forgiveness. So the story was told to me, and I believed it. Doesn't mean it's true, but I was told that the way people caught monkeys would in a jungle, let's say, is they would get a coconut, they would cut a little hole in it and tie a string to the other side of it, and they would put in the coconut treats that the monkeys would like. And so the monkey would find it, smell it, and then put their hand in to grab the treats. And once their hand was in the fist form with the treats, they couldn't get it out of
Get it out.
the coconut. And so they were trapped, and then it could lead to their demise, or who knows what happened to the poor monkey. But the important thing about that story is nothing had the monkey It's what the monkey had and wouldn't let go of that had it trapped. It was not trapped by any force. All it had to do was let go to find freedom. And it's the same thing with forgiveness. It's not about them at all. In fact, there's a spiritual principle that as long as you're holding the negative energy towards them, they're not feeling guilty because you're feeling all of that negative energy for them. And the moment you stop feeling it, they start feeling it. And I can tell you story after story after story of person who, without telling the person who did harm, without telling anyone, they had a forgiveness experience in their heart. And the moment they were free, the person, even if it was 10 years ago, reaches out and apologizes. So the person didn't feel the guilt until you forgave them. And so there's a spiritual principle here about you're blocking their progress by holding on to that negative energy. And when you release it, you're free, and all of a sudden they can own what they've done. So it's an amazing, absolutely essential part of wellness and success to forgive, to let go. So I just wanted to really encourage people that this hits home in a big, big way. So thank you.
Yeah, no
Readiness.
problem. No
Anything
problem.
else to readiness now? Forgiveness is done. A person has accepted the reality. They found that peaceful presence to say it is what it is. They've released any negative energy towards others and maybe towards themselves. Maybe a person says, well, I could have been watching before that accident, or I could have known this was going to happen, or I could have been more wise. And perhaps there's some self-forgiveness as well as the other person's forgiveness. But in any event, moving with a clean slate forward is one of the steps. Anything else to readiness? What's the next step?
Permission.
Tell me about that.
Giving yourself permission to move forward. Many times we get caught in a cycle where our identity has been locked up to someone else. Let's say, for example, you went through a divorce, you went through your wife died. You were just talking about your wife died, so now you're a widower. Your identity was tied to somebody else, and
Yes.
now you kind of don't know who you are. And
Yes.
you kind of don't know what to do. But you need to give yourself permission to move on, to move forward. It's okay. And until you do, your identity feels tied to the other person. So you will constantly be thinking about what they said about you, what they thought about you, the restrictions they put on you, the comments they said. And so you have to give yourself permission to move on and move forward, regardless of what he or she may or may not have said, done, etc. You need to give yourself permission to move forward. You have to say to yourself, you know what? I know that XYZ happened to me. I know that XYZ said this to me. But you
Yes.
know what? It's okay for me to be forward. You have to feel safe, because if you don't feel safe, you will not move forward. Fear will trap you, bind you, and keep you locked up. And so you need to give yourself permission
Yep.
to move on and to move forward, and tell yourself it's okay. It's okay.
Yes.
Different isn't wrong. It's just different. And it's okay to move on. That person won't hate me. That person's not going to whatever. And even if they do, who cares? It's
Exactly.
okay to
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah. So I've got a personal version of this that perhaps you can help me with. When it was about 3.5 years after my wife had passed, I had a very successful business day, my most successful, almost $500,000. It was a good day, let's put it that way. And I had a party for my team at a restaurant that evening because we had a great day. And there was a woman there who was a friend, and she's a coach, and she's wonderful and brilliant and all of that. And she said there was a moment when she had me alone, kind of thing, because it was a big crowd thing. So at one moment, she and I are talking alone. She said, "Oh, you've got to be happy." And I said, "I don't know, sure, whatever." And she knew that I hadn't been happy since my wife had passed. And she said to me, she says, "Oh," she said, "do you believe you can be happy again?" And I said, "I don't know, fine, sure." She says, "Oh," she says, "I've asked the wrong question." She said, "Do you want to be happy?" And the answer came clear and loud, and it was no. Absolutely not. I tried happy. It didn't work. It was a trap. And she said, "Wow." She says, "Okay, do you want to be happy?" And I said, no. She's okay. And she allowed that conversation to end there so that I could meditate on it without distraction. She didn't try and bully me. She didn't try and whatever. And I realized that I was afraid, I could almost tear up right now if I'm not careful. I was afraid to be happy again because then I could lose it again. But giving up on happiness felt safer. And what you're saying is giving yourself permission to be happy again, to be this again, to be that. And so would you say that the it's almost a fear of happiness? I don't know how else to describe it. Would you say that's what you're referring to, this give yourself permission?
Yes, for some people it can be. And for some people, for example, who lost a spouse that they really loved,
Mm-hmm.
they feel in some way that they are dishonoring their memory by being happy with someone else or about something else
Mm-hmm.
because they were the love of your life. And
Yes.
so you instinctively protect her, in your case, or you, or both, by trying to keep alive what you had and
Yeah.
living in that moment so that you don't feel like you're disrespecting your memory of
Right.
her and your happiness with her and your life with her and your memories with her.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on and being happy means that you're having to let go of
Yes.
her. And
I
that is
understand.
very
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah. And for me,
Does that make
I'm not.
sense?
Yeah, well, yes, and I think this is beautiful, and I hope everyone here is grateful. And maybe you can let Catherine know, you know, how you appreciate her. And I might as well say it now, and we'll say it before we wrap. But Catherine has offered to you a one-on-one conversation, and the way you do that is we're going to give you a link, and you go there, and you can read some great stuff. It's going to be life transforming. It's more of what we're talking about, but written out in a way that you can meditate on it and take it in at your own pace. And then at the bottom, there's an opportunity for you to provide Catherine your contact information. She'll reach out to you, and you can have a conversation about where you're at and where you want to go. And there's nothing better than a real one-on-one with someone who knows what they're talking about. Hopefully you feel that at this point like and trust Catherine, and you'll take advantage of that conversation. So I just wanted to say, when it comes to the happiness thing, I'm not positive for me that it was about feeling like I'm obligated to remain destroyed, but rather it's I had a challenging journey, like childhood and all of that. And so for me, my family would say they've known me happy for just 2 years of my entire life, and those were the 2 years with her. And so I'm a pleasant person, and I work hard, and I'm positive, and so on. But happy hasn't been something I've historically mastered. But I allowed myself to be happy when I was with her. And then when it crashed down, it's like, oh, forget that. I tried it. You know what I mean? And so it's more of a
Yes.
me thing than a guilt of being happy thing. But in any event, this next step is permission. Okay, permission. So please continue, because people are like, come on, give me more, give me more.
Well, I can only speak from my personal experience.
Hmm.
I cannot say that my pivot was easy, but
Right.
once I forgave her, clarity came to me.
Yes.
And once I had clarity, then I got on a mission. You know what? If God placed all these people in front of me, and if He put me through this journey,
Yes.
I have a deep seated belief that God doesn't do anything on purpose. He does everything on purpose. That
Hmm.
everything that God does, whether we see it that way or not, has a
Yes.
purpose. God is a God of purpose. He did
Hmm.
everything from the beginning with intention. And sometimes it's us that has to catch up with what God is wanting in
Yeah.
that season of our life. And so for me, it was pivoting from what I was doing to what He was now needing me to do. So I have to believe that He knew the people that He was going to put
Hmm.
in front of me that needed me in their journey for this time. So what it looked like for me is going on a learning journey. And some people are afraid to learn something new. Oh, honey, don't be afraid. Don't be
Mm.
afraid. It's learning. Learning is exciting. It's just different. But I had to go to find out, okay, now what do I want to do? And I
Yes.
really felt called. Most of my conversations were women. Most of my conversations were women over 50. So I sort of started focusing on women over
Yeah.
50 who were in a
Sure.
focus in a transition, you know, divorce, loss, abuse, whatever life has hit you with.
Yes.
And just really working on mindsets. You don't know how understanding. I've studied neuroscience for 15 years.
Love
And
it.
so I don't have a degree in it, just so that people know. I just have an insane fascination
Sure.
with
Sure.
neuroscience. And so I have learned, and that helped me so much during my accidents and other experiences in life. And my daughter had a traumatic accident. She had front and back
Mm.
trauma, and to this day suffers some stuff. But it was because I'm insatiable when it comes to studying and those things that I was able to put some very critical steps in place for her to get better. And I
Nice.
thought to myself, I can do this for other people. I have the skills, I have the knowledge, I have to, there's a learning curve.
Hmm.
But my point is that regardless of your pivot, God has given you a mind that is amazing. We just have to want to use it
Yes.
in the
Yes.
way, that it works. And you would be surprised. People are like, I can't learn another language. Oh, yes, you can. It is not proven scientifically. You cannot learn the language. You just have to put the effort into it. But I really just want to encourage everybody that it really is worth it, James. It is worth it. Different isn't wrong, it's just different. That we have something new can be something exciting. And yes, there's a learning curve. I'm not going to lie about that.
Hmm.
Sometimes you're like, I don't know how to do this. Hey, when you went to first grade, you didn't know how to do that either.
Hmm.
And you figured it out, right?
Yep.
When you just
Yep.
got married, you didn't know how to be a married person. I've been married coming up 41 years.
Woohoo!
And I know, right? That's a lot of determination right there.
Yeah.
41 years, I've got 3 kids, I've got 1 grandkid, and all of those require a learning curve.
Yes.
To stay
Yes.
married that long is a learning curve. To
Yes.
raise children is a learning curve. To be a grandparent is a learning curve. To be a career woman is a learning curve. To be a pastor on top of it is a learning curve. So if we're honest, why would you be afraid of a pivot? It's just one of
Hmm.
many. It's
I love
just
it.
part of life.
Yes. Now, I have to imagine in in the work you do, as you work with women, do you work with? Okay, so let's start with this. Does it have to be a woman over 50? Or are you open? It's just you found that that's the norm.
I just found that that was the norm, but
Beautiful.
I talk to men a lot
Yeah.
about things. Just men aren't as readily open to talk about
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
because unfortunately society has made it to where men almost feel embarrassed to
Hmm.
say I'm hurting, I'm fearful, and whatever.
Yes.
And that's such a shame because men are just, need guidance just as
Yeah.
much as women do. So
Amen.
to answer your question, I'm open to talk with anybody and to help anybody
And
through this.
beautiful. And the way you work, is it with individuals or in groups, or are there options to do either or both?
At the moment, I do individually because my
Mm.
programs are tailored very specific for each client. I
Nice.
don't have a cookie cutter program. I listen, I strategize, I
Yes.
pray, I divine wisdom comes into
Yep.
effect, and we talk about what's personal to you because not everybody's the same. Why would you want a
Yes.
program that doesn't work for you? Why would I have a program about widowers and then you're just divorced? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't
Yeah.
work. So
Love it.
that's why I really like the one-on-one. Really get to know you. Really get to the heart of the issues. Really get to core principles that apply to you. I may
Yes.
start a group eventually because I think
Hmm.
community. Oh my gosh, community is so important. It is
Yes.
so important. But I find that most people don't want to open up about their most personal things in a group.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
It's
No, I
harder
totally
for them.
understand that.
So
And
I
I love
start
the
there.
Yeah, and I love the personal attention. I wanted to pounce now. I just wanted to encourage people to know that they can reach out to you and have a private conversation. It doesn't have to
Absolutely.
be in a group, and you don't have to be a woman over 50. But this is the primary experience in people group that Catherine's been working with. But I want to jump forward into what's next. So a person has faced the reality. They have gone through forgiveness process. They have chosen to be resilient, and they have chosen to learn what they need to learn. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other things when you're working with people, but I wanted to jump and correct me if you feel there's something more important, but I wanted to talk about crafting a new vision. That must be a substantial part of it, like
I
creating
think.
a vision worth living for, creating a vision worth getting excited about, creating a vision worthy of discipline and effort and patience and persistence, and one that excites, one that can wake somebody up in the morning and give them a great reason for moving forward. What's your experience with, somewhere along the line saying it's essential to craft a vision worthy of the life you've been given?
Absolutely, it is essential. I find that people kind of fall into two categories. Finding their new vision can be something that they've always dreamed about. You know, as a
Mm.
teenager, they wanted to, I don't know, always have a band or always play guitar or
Yes.
always, everybody, the beautiful thing about children is that they dream and
Yeah.
teenagers dream. We stop dreaming when we have a real job in life and responsibilities and nasty bills come our way. But when we're younger, we dream a lot. And many
Yeah.
times it's going back to those dreams and
Mm.
goals that we had in our past and making them a reality. And sometimes it's because of the pivots that you were in. Say, for example, that your mom has cancer or had cancer
Mm.
and passed away. It brought a new awareness and a new life, and now you want to help cancer patients, or you
Yeah.
want to raise cancer awareness, or you want to raise funds
Hmm.
for children who have cancer. So sometimes those hopes, those dreams, and those goals come from something that happened in your life that
Hmm.
brought awareness of a need and something inside you. It spoke to something inside you, and you're like, I want to make a difference.
I love it.
I want
I
to do
love
that.
it. And is it sometimes the case? I have to imagine, only because I've experienced multiple versions of this. One where I have a clear, compelling vision that I believe in and feel free to pursue. I perceive that I have divine inspiration, and I go for it. That has been part of my journey. There's other parts where it's like I don't know enough to be able to craft a clear vision, but I can see one step I can take, and that seems to be the way that it works sometimes, where it's like the path reveals itself on the path. And so I don't know everything, but I do know this one step makes sense. I do know this is something I can do. And is that sometimes the way that these new visions are formed? That sometimes they come with a nice package with a bow on them, and other times it's just lean into it and watch the beautiful vision reveal itself on the journey. Has that been part of your experience?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I cannot say that I had a very clear vision. The only vision I had was that I had to get up in the morning and go to therapy. That's as far as my vision went.
Yes, yes,
It
yes.
was, how to get in the car.
Yeah.
Period. That was my vision for the day. But as the process continued, the revelation of what my new journey was began to unfold. So sometimes it's in a dream that God gives you, a revelation that you get about the new thing, a new strategy, a new way of doing things.
Yes.
Sometimes it's a friend who tells you, hey, you would be really good at this. And it starts something thinking in your mind, and you're thinking, oh, yeah, I would love to do that. It comes in different ways for everybody, James. But
Mm.
the idea behind it is that when that happens, what are you going to do about it?
Mm-hmm.
Because action, dreams without action is nothing.
Yes. Faith
Right?
without works. Yes.
Yeah. So, but dreams with an action take you nowhere. They will keep you where you're at. But dreams with action
Mm-hmm.
and a simple act of obedience, sometimes
Yes.
one thing, just do one thing. You don't have to conquer the world today. Just
Mm-hmm.
do one thing. Take one step
Yes.
towards the goal that you are dreaming. And if you continue faithfully and consistently to take those steps, you will get to where you
I
want to
love
go.
it. And that I'm going to encourage everyone. Catherine and I spoke about this a little bit earlier, and that is grace with yourself as you plug along. Right? If you're unwilling to ever look bad, you're unlikely to ever look great. Everyone starts something. They suck at it. They're not good at it. They fumble.
Yes.
They touch their microphone and mute themselves and embarrass themselves live. Um, you name it, it happens. I think it's I don't know how we got brainwashed into thinking it's all or nothing. It has to be easy and perfect or it's impossible. Well, those
Yes,
binary options are lies. The
they're
fact
lies.
is 99.99999999999% of everything that's of value is difficult, which means it's going to take something and you can do it. It's not fall off the log easy and it's not impossible. It's in the real world of I'm going to poke around, I'm going to embarrass myself a bit, I'm going to make some mistakes, but I'm optimistic that this is worthy of me. This is a worthwhile endeavor. There's a worthwhile direction, and I'm just gonna get started and poke around, and I'm gonna get the hang of this. My late wife got me. She sucked me into karaoke singing, and I refused. I'm like, I'm not singing. And she says, yes, we're singing. But she could make me do anything. I ended up like I don't work with my hands. She had me like digging holes in the ground and planting flowers. I'm like, what has she done to me? Who have I become? But she could make me do anything. And she got me into karaoke singing. And after she passed, it became my therapy because I would sing songs to her. It
Oh,
was
I love
one of
it.
the saving graces she gave me as a gift. But and I might still suck in the eyes of everyone else, but I I just tried and learned and got a little bit better and I enjoy it. And it's not about being a star, it's about being a participant. And you do it and do it and do it, whatever the it is for you and your new vision of life. And you just keep, sometimes you're flying forward, sometimes you're running, sometimes you're walking, sometimes you're falling forward, crawling forward. But I'm going to take a step today in the direction of a life worth living. Would you agree with that to encourage people? It's just what can I do today to increase the odds of me having a great and positively impactful life?
Practice the art of authenticity.
Mm,
Be real, be true,
yep.
be vulnerable. People are like, I don't want to be vulnerable. Are you crazy right now? You know what? I had to be vulnerable to come tell you my story, to come
Yeah.
tell you my
Yeah.
struggles, to be honest about the hate I had for that woman.
Yeah.
To, you're a pastor, you shouldn't hate.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I hated her, okay? I had to work through that. But if we practice the art of being authentic,
Yes.
people are sick and tired of perfection. They're
Yeah.
fake. They're just
Yeah.
so tired of fake.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
so they're okay with real. They're like, oh, I
Yes.
understand. Why? Because we can empathize. We can understand. It's like, oh, she gets me. She understands me.
Yes.
Be authentic because authenticity brings impact, brings
Amen.
influence. If you're not willing to be vulnerable and put yourself out there and say, gosh, I pressed my mic and I don't know how to turn it on, what what harm did it do? Nothing. A few seconds of silence
Yeah.
anyway. And then we figured it out. It's okay for those things to happen.
Yeah.
Life is not going to be uninterrupted. It's how you manage the interruptions. And you just
Yes.
say, oh my gosh, I can't forget. I forgot to do my hair today.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay to be
Me too.
vulnerable and real. Be
I forgot
real.
to do
Be
my hair
real. Yeah, you
the way I
did. I
woke up.
mean, I can see that. Yeah, nothing's there.
Catherine, you are an absolute treat as a human being. And I think part of
Thank you.
what you're demonstrating is find your sense of humor again, to laugh and
Yes.
play and sing and
Yes.
dance and mess up, fall in love and get your heart broken maybe and play and
Yes.
like live. As long as we're alive, living makes the most sense. And very few people are
Absolutely.
really living. They might be technically alive, but they're not really living. And with your help, Catherine, countless people are going to find their way back and they're going to be resilient and they're going to find the strength. They're going to find a new vision and they're going to live magnificent lives. And after the journey, they're going to have wisdom to pass on and make the world a better place. And everyone loves, as you said, a great comeback story, a rags to riches, a overcomer.
Yes.
And so, Catherine, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to meet with me on Good Life GPS. And I want to encourage everyone to go to the link. It'll be in the description and enjoy what's already there for you, and then complete the intake. It's just your name, email, whatever. Let her know, and then you can have a one-on-one with Catherine. And with all of my heart, I encourage you to do that. If this is touched you, if you felt like, wow, maybe I haven't truly unleashed my positive future, maybe I haven't forgiven, maybe I haven't overcome, maybe I haven't found the 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 benefits of my challenges, I may have more to unleash, unlock, and to grow into, then please reach out to Catherine. Give her the opportunity to speak with you and take your life to the next level. Catherine, I'm going to give you last words here, but I can't thank you enough for being a part of this show.
Oh, thank you so much for the opportunity, James. I'm truly blessed to have this opportunity. And if you want to hear more, I will be speaking at the third Global Conference coming up on
Yes.
December 18th. It has to do with leadership resilience, thriving under pressure. So, you know what? If you're a leader and
Mhm.
you're or looking to go into leadership, and there's a lot of pressure that goes into leadership, we will be talking about a few key components that will also help you on your leadership process.
Love
So
it.
if you're interested in that, it'll be December 18th. Go ahead and log on for that too.
Yes. So thank you so much for reminding me. So the way that I got to meet Catherine is I'm also a speaker at the third annual Global Speakers event, and I believe I'm speaking on the 18th as well. I think I'm also speaking on the 2nd. And so there's an ocean of golden hearts and minds sharing
Yes.
with you on a variety of topics. And Catherine and I have been gifted tickets to give you for free. So we're going to put the link in the description. You click on that, you have a free ticket to every day of the event. You can take in all of the speakers and definitely take advantage of that. So here's your homework, everyone. Number one, before anything else, find present peace today. Accept what is and choose that that what comes of your current journey is rewarding and meaningful and purpose filled. So that number two, register for that event, free ticket. It's multiple days with multiple experts. You're going to benefit from that, the third annual
Absolutely.
Global Speakers event. And then click the link to go to Catherine's, it's a landing page where you get to learn more, and then complete that little form. Just give her your contact info and she'll reach out to you. Catherine, thank you, thank you, thank you. You're a beautiful blessing. And I'm not happy that there was an accident in your past, but I'm grateful that you allowed God to take what had occurred and turned it into something beautiful so that you can touch lives. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, James. God bless you.
God bless. One and all, thank you so much for joining us for Good Life GPS. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Again, click on those links, get yourself the ticket to the event, get to meet Catherine, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. God bless, one and all.
God bless. Bye bye.